Rance Allen is a name that many people say with respect and affection. He is known for his hard work, dedication, and loyalty to his family. People don't just see him as a public figure. They also know him as someone with a story hidden beneath the surface. Every family has its secrets, and Rance Allen's family is no different. From the outside, everything seems perfect and happy, but sometimes the reality behind closed doors is very different. Today, we're going to talk about a story that many people suspected, but no one spoke about openly. This is a story that Rance Allen's family has kept to themselves for a long time, but now they are ready to share the truth. It's not just any story, it's a journey filled with pain, courage, and honesty. So, let's take a closer look at the story that has been quietly living behind the scenes. To understand the truth that Rance Allen's family is about to reveal, it's important to picture the moment when they decided to finally open up. It wasn't in a crowded place or on a big stage. Instead, it happened during a quiet family gathering where only the closest relatives were present. The atmosphere was serious but filled with love and trust. Everyone knew this was a special moment, a time to share feelings that had been kept hidden for years. The family members sat together, some nervous, some emotional, but all ready to speak honestly. There was no rush, no interruptions, just a deep sense of needing to finally tell the story the world had only guessed at. It was a private, heartfelt conversation where every word carried weight, and the silence between them was as powerful as what was said. This setting made it clear that what they were about to share was real, personal, and important, not just for them, but for anyone watching who understands the complexity of family life. Rance Allen was always seen by the world as a figure of strength and success. Whether it was in his career, community work, or how he carried himself, people admired him. He was the kind of person others looked up to, a role model with a seemingly perfect life. But as his family reveals now, there was more beneath the surface. Behind closed doors, things weren't always as smooth as they appeared. The family started noticing small signs that something was wrong. It wasn't loud or obvious, just little moments that made them wonder. Sometimes Rance would become quiet and distant, or there were late-night phone calls he didn't want to talk about. There were times when he seemed tired, emotionally worn out, but he never showed it to the outside world. These small pieces didn't fit the public image that everyone loved, and that's why people began to suspect that there was a side of Rance Allen that no one really saw. The family kept these observations to themselves for a long time, protecting his privacy while trying to understand what was happening. It was a quiet struggle, one that most people don't notice, but it shaped the way they lived and related to each other. To the outside world, Rance Allen was seen as a pillar of strength, a man who had everything under control. Whether it was his career achievements, his leadership within the community, or the way he carried himself with confidence and grace, many believed he was living an almost flawless life. People admired him not just for what he did, but for who he seemed to be: dependable, strong, and always ready to help others. He was the kind of person whose success made others feel inspired and hopeful. However, as is often the case with public figures, what people see on the surface can be very different from what is happening behind closed doors. Rance's family began to notice little things that didn't quite fit the picture. It wasn't anything dramatic at first, just small moments that felt unusual or out of character. Sometimes he would withdraw into silence for long periods. He would often seem tired, as if carrying a heavy burden no one else could see. There were late-night phone calls where his voice sounded strained, and when asked about it, he would quickly change the subject or offer a vague answer. On other occasions, he seemed distant even when surrounded by family, lost in his own thoughts, and emotionally unreachable. These subtle signs were confusing for those who loved him because they didn't want to believe something was wrong. Despite these signs, Rance kept his struggles private. He was determined to protect his family from worry and maintain the strong image everyone expected. The family respected his wishes and didn't push too hard to get answers, but in their hearts, they began to suspect that something was hidden, something serious that he wasn't ready to share yet. This created a quiet tension within the home, where everyone sensed the distance but didn't know how to bridge it. Over time, these unspoken struggles began to affect the family's daily life in ways they couldn't ignore. The contrast between the public persona, while the world saw Rance as a figure of unwavering strength, the family experienced the challenges he faced, sometimes silently, sometimes painfully obvious. It became clear that the perfect image was only part of the story. What they lived through was a reminder that even the strongest people have battles that they fight away from the spotlight, and often those closest to them feel the impact most deeply. After years of silence and quiet struggles, the moment finally came when Rance Allen's family felt it was time to bring the truth into the open, the truth that many had suspected but no one had dared to say out loud. This secret wasn't something easy to share. It was deeply personal and had affected not only Rance but everyone around him. The family revealed that Rance had been facing a serious challenge, something that tested his strength and spirit in ways no one had imagined. Without going into unnecessary details, the family explained how this struggle affected Rance emotionally and mentally. It wasn't just a physical battle or a simple problem. It was something that weighed heavily on his mind every single day. This secret had caused him to withdraw, to hide his pain behind a brave face, and to fight a battle mostly on his own. The family spoke about how difficult it was for them to watch him suffer silently, feeling helpless because he didn't want to share what he was going through. But this revelation also showed the depth of Rance's courage. Despite the hardship, he continued to carry himself with dignity, refusing to let the struggle define him or his legacy. The family shared how they stood by him through the toughest moments, offering love and support even when the situation seemed overwhelming. They spoke honestly about the impact the secret had on their relationships, sometimes creating distance, other times bringing them closer. When the truth about Rance Allen's secret struggle finally came to light, it didn't just affect him, it touched everyone around him. Within the family, the revelation brought a mixture of emotions. There was relief that the silence was broken, but also pain from knowing how much had been hidden for so long. Family members admitted that the secret had sometimes caused confusion and distance between them. They didn't always know how to help or what to say, and at times, the unspoken tension created walls where there should have been closeness. Despite these challenges, the family's love and commitment never wavered. In fact, going through this difficult experience together made many of them stronger. They learned the importance of patience, understanding, and standing by each other, even when things were tough. The family began to communicate more openly, realizing that keeping feelings hidden only made the burden heavier. Outside the family, the news of Rance's struggle surprised many in the community. Some were shocked because they had only ever seen the confident and successful person he presented to the world. Others felt a deep sense of empathy, recognizing that everyone faces battles we don't always see. The community's reaction was a mix of support, curiosity, and reflection. Importantly, this revelation challenged many people's assumptions about strength and vulnerability. It reminded them that even the strongest individuals can face difficult times, and that admitting to struggles is not a weakness but a sign of courage. Rance's story encouraged conversations about mental health, emotional well-being, and the importance of supporting loved ones through hard times. In the end, the impact went beyond just one family or one community. It became a message for everyone watching, a reminder to look beyond appearances, to be kinder, and to understand that everyone has their own hidden battles. The family's willingness to share their story showed that honesty and openness could create healing and connection, even in the face of pain. Every story of struggle reaches a moment when things begin to change, and for Rance Allen and his family, That moment came after years of quiet pain and unspoken fears. The turning point wasn't sudden or dramatic. It was a slow and steady decision to face the truth head-on. The family realized that hiding the secret wasn't helping anyone. It was only creating distance and keeping them from healing. They understood that the only way forward was to be honest with themselves and with others. This moment of clarity came when Rance himself showed the courage to open up. It wasn't easy for him to share what he had been carrying inside for so long. But when he did, it changed everything. The family saw a new side of him, vulnerable yet strong, willing to accept help and support. It was as if a weight had been lifted, and the path to healing began. From there, the family started to take steps toward recovery. They sought support from trusted friends, professionals, and each other. They focused on rebuilding their relationships,